Week 2 in the NFL.
And there is Derek Carr. Great week one, 435 yards passing, 2 touchdowns against the Ravens in 2 games against the Steelers, 623 yards and 6 TDs.
And there's Baker Mayfield, completed 75% of his passes while throwing for 300 yards last week in the loss. First home game for the Browns, the dog pound will be barking loud.
Rookie #1 pick Trevor Lawrence last week threw 3 touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions. Today against Denver, look out for Von Miller, Trevor.
There's Mac Jones, New England quarterback. He's a rookie. Last week he played great for a rookie, made big throws under pressure. Nice start, but he needs a win today against the Jets.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the NFL Today, presented by Ram Trucks. I'm James Brown, and indeed, Week 1 proved to be worthy of the moniker, the biggest kickoff Sunday ever, by serving up some marquee matchups. But this week is primed to be a worthwhile sequel with even more potentially explosive action coming your way. So let's get right to the headlines. 2 big matchups in the 425 window as Justin Herbert and the Chargers host Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, while Russell Wilson and company look to start 2-0 as they face the Tennessee Titans. The longest-standing rivalry between Gotham and Beantown welcomes some fresh faces as Mac Jones and the Pats pay a visit to the Big Apple to take on Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. 2 squads coming off impressive wins in Week 1 look to continue their hot starts when Derek Carr and the Raiders head east, looking to knock off Big Ben and the Steelers.
Steelers trailing the Bills 10-0 in the first half.
This was a team win. Offense.
Roethlisberger, end zone, touchdown!
Defense.
Allen steps up, runs into a wall!
Special teams.
Pressure! Hawk has it blocked into the end zone! That's a Pittsburgh touchdown!
We persevered and we found a way to win.
Carr throws down the right sideline. Jump ball caught. It's caught. Touchdown. Raiders win.
After review, the runner was short of the goal line.
4-man rush. Duffy hits Carr. It's intercepted in the end zone. Lamar Jackson hit. Ball came loose. Raiders say they've recovered it. Jones is open. Vegas touchdown. This time, no doubt.
Like they say here, just win, baby.
And back here in Studio 43, I'm joined by my colleagues. I know they thought I wasn't going to say it, but the calmest guy I know, 2-time Super Bowl champ Phil Simms, the calm coach, Hall of Famer Bill Cowher, the multi-talented Emmy Award winner Nate Burleson, and the guy who says he's the handsomest guy in television.
Oh, my God.
Every morning.
Just ask.
Every morning, just asking. Boomer Esiason. Hey, joining us live from Pittsburgh, of course, is our guy, Charles Davis. Charles, both squads coming off of very impressive wins in Week 1, hoping to keep that same energy going today.
Absolutely, JB. You're right about the impressive wins. And for Las Vegas, it came at a price, though, because their lead runner, Josh Jacobs, the guy who is the identity of their team, sets the tone with his physical running style and able to beat people up in the secondary. He's down with an ankle injury. He won't go today. Remember, he played that game with a toe injury, added the ankle injury. He's out for this week. So the guys replacing him, normally you go on the depth chart, look at number 2, and that's Kenyon Drake. But they want a runner, more of a pure runner for this game, and that's Peyton Barber, who was a starter for Tampa Bay a few years ago, over 800 yards in that season. He'll handle the heavy lifting running it. Kenyon Drake will be more the space player. So we'll have one guy running it and another guy catching it. But for Pittsburgh, what they're looking for today is how do they defend Darren Waller, which means can they continue to get to the quarterback without blitzing? Last week, they only had 2 blitzes, and that's really unusual for a team known as Blitzburgh. This is how they brought the pressure, though. Inside with Cameron Hayward, an absolute terror throughout the game last week, and then chasing him down from the backside, T.J. Watt. Now, this is more of what you're used to with Pittsburgh. The outside linebackers, Melvin Ingram, number 8, he flushes him. T.J. Watt, number 90, finishes him. If they can do that with the 4 guys up front, 7 guys to try and defend Darren Waller, the all-world tight end for Las Vegas downfield, Minkah Fitzpatrick will figure into that big time, JB.
Hey, Charles, Coach is in here grinning all over himself when you talk about the defense. Thank you so very much. But what are the keys for the Raiders against that tough Steelers D?
Well, I think for the Steelers D, I think Charles was all over. He was targeted 19 times last week, so you have to find a way to take him out of the game. When you look at what he's done in the last 2 years, he's second most in receiving as a tight end and second most in receiving yards as a tight end. So there's clearly, he is their offense. So when you think about it, they're also going to have to do this without Devin Bush. They're going to have to do this without Joe Hayden. But you can see right there, that guy is a matchup nightmare. And to me, you have to hit him at the line of scrimmage. And that's got to be T.J. Watt. It's going to be Ingram, Highsmith, and anybody. You have to destroy the timing elements of what he does and then put Minka Fitzpatrick on the top. You hit him at the line of scrimmage and you get him on top. One person can't cover him.
You know, I know one thing. Derek Carr in Week 1 against the Ravens was terrific against the Ravens, late in the game especially. And Derek, you know, finally maybe is recapturing that magic that he had back in 2016 when he was the odds-on favorite to be the MVP before he hurt his knee, and then John Gruden came in there. And it took him a while to figure out how to play for John Gruden. You know, for me, the one part of his game that I would like to see him improve, that is running for first downs on third down, moving the chains. He just does not want to run with the football at all. And if he did, he'd be a bigger help to this Raider offense.
Yeah, he would be. You know, all you hear about the Raiders, John Gruden, offense for 3 years. Now it's time to talk about the defense. If you want to win a lot of games, you got to have a defense. They come in there. Gus Bradley, the new defensive coordinator, has done a great job. I know it's just one game, but he had them hustling around. Max Crosby was awesome in the game. 2 sacks, he was everywhere. His partner, Yannick Ngakoue, was everywhere. And then the steal of maybe of the team, KJ Wright, the linebacker coming from Seattle, he made 3 big, timely plays. So they hustled, they were smart, they were disciplined. It's just a really good start for the Raiders.
I love hearing you talk about defense.
I know, I love it.
And Big Ben is going to have to watch out for that defense. We know one thing when it comes to Big Ben. He doesn't want to push the ball downfield. I mean, where their bread is buttered, the short and intermediate passes. And Big Ben is one of those guys that doesn't want to leave the pocket either. So I anticipate the Raiders DBs to smother the wide receivers at the line of scrimmage, try to collapse those windows, force Big Ben to hold onto the ball and push it downfield. Last week, 0 attempts of 20-plus yard passes. So if they can muck up that intermediate passing game, it's going to be trouble for Big Ben in that offense.
Muck it up. I like that. That's what Bill likes.
We'll keep an eye on that. All right, folks, for more news and updates from around the league, we check in with our NFL Today insider, Jason Lockenfor. Hey, Jason, Herculean, the best way to describe Chandler Jones for sure, in play, but not the contract.
No, JB, the Cardinals are running out of time to keep the all-pro pass rusher who requested a trade this offseason. His agent, Ethan Locke, said Arizona's only contract extension proposal was for just 1 year, which is $4.5 million guaranteed, hardly Herculean. It simply was not a serious offer, Locke told me. Jones has more sacks than any NFL player since being drafted in 2012, including 5 last week. Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy remains hopeful of becoming an NFL head coach, but would seriously consider the USC job, sources said. He's a SoCal native. Former Eagles coach Doug Peterson has been linked to the opening, but isn't interested, I'm told. Urban Meyer says he's not interested either, but many of his fellow coaches believe he could be a one and done in Jacksonville. And Sean Payton and his staff are wearing multiple hats today. The Saints are down 8 coaches due to COVID. The NFL says it's confident that everyone at risk has been identified, and the coaches are dealing with modest symptoms typical of vaccinated breakthroughs, Boom.
All right, thanks, Jason. Tell USC Phil Simms is interested, right? Hey, there's T.J. Watt. He's going against Alex Leatherwood today, a rookie out of Alabama. 2 sacks last week. How many today?
Still ahead on the NFL Today, with rookies Zach Wilson and Mac Jones leading the way. Fans of the Jets and Pats know the future is looking bright for the AFC East rivals. Week 1 was surprisingly rough for some Super Bowl contenders, and the guys are ready to let you know whose slow start is cause for concern and who will bounce back quickly.
It's just one game. We got 16 to go.
Dak Prescott looked good in his first game back against the Bucs, and you'll want to hear what the Cowboys quarterback told Tracy Wolfson about his conversation with Tom Brady after the game. That's all coming up when the NFL Today returns on CBS. The NFL Today on CBS is presented by Ram Trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row.
Two rookie quarterbacks squaring off today. Both have their respective fan bases feeling pretty doggone optimistic. And even though New England has won the last 10 matchups against the Jets, the arrivals of Mac Jones and Zach Wilson symbolizing a new start to this storied rivalry.
Jets fans have been waiting for someone who they can call their franchise quarterback.
Two new quarterbacks. Here comes the celebrated rookie out of Alabama, Mac Jones.
Two rookies.
Mac Jones definitely could probably be the next Tom Brady.
He was really good at Alabama. I think he'll end up being really good here.
We got used to winning around here with Tom. You know, you see a little bit of it in Mac. It seems like with the accuracy and the command and the poise of the lines.
This absolutely can be the first page of a new chapter in this rivalry.
I think Zach Wilson is going to be the future of the Jets.
The little handsome kid is going to show up and show out. This is going to be a rivalry for a long time, these two.
Honestly, the Jets is my least favorite team in the NFL, so I hope they get crushed 54-0. Forget your new quarterback.
Hope springs eternal with the Jets.
The Jets stink.
Baby.
Patriots versus the Jets. Got to be the favorite.
Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes should win.
What do I got this weekend? Let me see. Joe Namath. The real number 12.
Oh, man, I know Mac Jones is doing well, and I pull for him. But looky here, like Broadway is back, it's Jets and Zach to win the game.
And just like Mac Jones, Broadway Joe played his college ball at Alabama, that is, but the legendary QB sticking with his Jets today. Some great talent in our 1 o'clock window, of course, highlighted by that battle of the rookie quarterback.
You know, JB, you said it. Take a look at this domination by the New England Patriots, 10-0 in their last 10 games. Look at the point differential. That is ridiculous. You know what? Mac Jones last week completed 29 passes. He was 9 of 12 on third down. He actually looks like Tom Brady in a Patriot uniform. That's why everybody's so excited. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. And, Coach, you would love this. After the game, he said it was about him. He had to do better. He had to improve, and he's a preparer. How about Damian Harris? 100 yards on the ground last week, but a crucial late-game fumble that cost the game to the Dolphins. He's going to get the ball a lot today against this Jet defense.
You're talking about Zach Wilson. You're talking about getting better. In the second half of last week's loss to Carolina, he was 14 of 21, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he does look like he's getting better. A big part of that target was Corey Davis. Now, he will not have Mekhi Becton, the left tackle. And the concern I had, he had 6 sacks last week, and we know with Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, he will be seeing a lot of different looks today.
Thank you, Bill. Good job. Let's talk about the Texans and the Cleveland Browns. We're going to start out with Tyrod Taylor first. Last week, 290 yards throwing the football, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, 40 yards rushing, because Tyrod can still move around, that's for sure. Who does he want to throw to? Brandon Cooks, only 5 catches for 132 yards, deep threat down the field, and Tyrod throws a great deep pass, no doubt about it. And for the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield, he threw the ball tremendous against the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, my God, he threw an interception. It's not a game of perfection, Bill Cowher, that's for sure. Nick Chubb, reincarnation of Jim Brown. That's right, I said it. Big, fast, runs over people, great blocking offensive line. They got it. Nate, tell me something I don't know.
All right, well, I can tell you a lot you don't know. We got the Broncos and the Jags. Let me pull Phil Simms.
Tell me.
Why is this game good? Well, I'll tell you. All right, so we got Teddy Bridgewater was fantastic. You know, the game is won on 3rd and 4th down, and 14 out of 16 of his completions. He also had 10 first downs on those downs. You got to move the sticks when it counts. Melvin Gordon, proving that he still is a #1 running back, had 100 yards last week, a full running back. He can run out of the backfield, catch the ball, and run in between the tackles. Von Miller missed the entire season last year and came back, started off on fire. 2 sacks. My man had his 19th multi-sack game, which means he still has some juice in his legs.
Wow.
And this young fella right here, he was exciting to watch, but he made some rookie mistakes. A couple of late touchdowns. He ended up with 3, but also 3 interceptions. He's going to have his hands full, though, because you know that defense for the Broncos are going to get after the young rookie. And if you want to see some football like you've never seen it before, you've got to check out NFL Slime Time on Nickelodeon. That's right. Join me to tackle the week's best slime lights in the upcoming matchups. Make sure you catch NFL Slime Time every single Wednesday at 7 Eastern on Nickelodeon. Hey, watch out, Phil. Don't be trying to attack me in the studio. We got Big Ben. Now, Big Ben played good enough to win, but not great enough to carry his team. Special teams and defense helped him out. Let's see if Big Ben can push the ball downfield today. Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. Myles Garrett, 1 sack, 3 QB hits. up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in that loss. Jadeveon Clowney, fourth team in 4 years. One of those teams, the Texans, who they face today, maybe a little payback for the former number one overall pick. And coming up at 4:25 Eastern, right here on CBS, Dak leads the Cowboys into the City of Angels for a showdown with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And after a rough week one, the Titans will try to bounce back in Seattle, taking on the Seahawks and Chef Russ, whose skills in the kitchen were on full display last week.
A number of teams had reached out to the Seahawks about Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, usually when there's smoke, there's fire.
Russell Wilson is putting a for sale sign on himself.
Gonna let it fly down the middle of the field. Touchdown! Seahawks! Russell Wilson rears back and lets it fly. 69-yard touchdown. Holy catfish! Nothing short of perfect was Russell Wilson at quarterback. What a game by him.
Now, Russell Wilson went from almost being traded this offseason to last week starting it off on an MVP level. What makes Russell Wilson in this offense so special?
Yeah, no discontent after week one now, Nate. When you look at this offense, they made no mistake. Pete Carroll loves to run the football. And you're going to see Chris Carson. The zones were a stretch with the blocking, the patience of Chris Carson.
Yeah.
And he breaks through. This is what Pete Carroll loves to do. What happens when you run the football? The play action is the next part of it. It also helps an offensive line. And right here, there's the play action. Look at the pocket. Very clean. Who you get the ball to? DK Metcalf. And he is a beast after he catches a football.
No doubt.
But you know what? The biggest thing is they love to throw the ball deep.
That's right.
And who is that one guy? Tyler Lockett. Watch right here, Russell Wilson. Navigate the pocket against a very good Indianapolis Colts rush team, but he's still looking down the field. And no one can throw the ball down the field like Russell Wilson. And Tyler Lockett, 15 touchdowns of over 40 yards, all-purpose touchdowns, second only to Tyreek Hill since 2015. This football team and this offense, they're strong up front, but they love the explosion plays.
And right here, you see it. The passes of 30-plus air yards, attempts 40, and, of course, the completions. That right there is efficiency in the touchdowns. And Russell Wilson can negotiate the pocket with the best of them. We know that this offense is versatile. Tyler Lockett, the most underrated receiver in the league because he led the team in catches last year, but he's still not looked at as a true number one. This offense is just getting started, and Russell Wilson could be an MVP this season. All right, let's send it over to James with Phil and Boomer.
Wow, Nate called me James. Isn't that something? I got to talk to him about that. Hey, fellas, thank you so much. Time now for a new game that we'd like to call Concern or No Concern. You know, I know it's early in the season, but check this out. The numbers do say that squads that start 1-1 have a nearly 42% chance to make the playoffs, while those who go 0-2, that normally spells doom for their squad. So let's start with the Titans, a star-studded offense that yielded little results in week one. Concerned or not concerned?
All these stats are attached to a 16-game season, by the way. We're in a 17-game season and working with Mr. Misery over here, you know, because I know he's concerned about everybody, including Coach Cowher. The fact is the Titans are a good football team. Yeah, they had a wake-up call last week against the Cardinals. There's no question about that. Taylor Lewan said he didn't have a good game. Derrick Henry didn't say he had a good game. Mike Vrabel called out Julio Jones. There's a lot of good players here. They're going to be fine. So I'm not going to overreact.
So you're not
Not concerned?
I'm not concerned.
Answer the question. You know, I want to stand next to you in every segment because you make me look good. So there you go. I'm extremely concerned. I don't know what game he watched. The game I watched, the offensive line was terrible, and they couldn't run the football. So if they can't run it, they're not going to be able to do play actions. The defensive line could not pressure Kyler Murray. They couldn't cover anybody down the field. Did you watch the game? I'm not concerned. I'm extremely concerned.
Wow. So the Bills' offense now was held in check in their loss to Pittsburgh. That would be Pittsburgh. Are you concerned?
About Buffalo, I am not concerned. I'm sure you're concerned because you're Mr. Misery. But I will say this. I watched this game just like I watched last week's game with the Tennessee Titans and Cardinals. I don't want to overreact to one loss at the beginning of the season. You know, Josh Allen wasn't perfect last week. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense was better than advertised. They ran the ball a little bit better than you thought they would. But you know what? He's too good of a player to be concerned about.
You're going to call me Mr. Misery every time. You know, one time's enough. But, you know, let's say this. Buffalo, look, we thought their offense was going to be good. Right. It was not good against Pittsburgh. We worried about the defense. The defense did stand up. But why would I be concerned? Buffalo is considered to be a Super Bowl team. They're 0-1. They're going down to Miami, which is really good on defense, and they're good on offense. That would concern me and almost panic if you start out 0-2.
Injuries and turnovers were indeed the story for the Ravens after last week. Concerned or not?
I am concerned, and I'm sure that makes you happy, and I'm concerned because I'm worried about their passing game. They had the worst passing game in the NFL last year. They were unable to pass when they really needed to against the Raiders, so I am concerned because of that reason.
Yeah, I'm concerned. Injuries, the offensive line's beat up. On the other side, they can't get to the quarterback, so they have to blitz. They really open themselves up to big plays, so I'm concerned.
The Carson Wentz era in Indianapolis started with the loss to the Seahawks. Concerned or not?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'm concerned. The offensive line didn't protect Carson Wentz. He got beat up. If he gets hit like this every week, he's not going to make it through the year. And did you watch Seattle? Down the field. Here it comes. They went past the coverage. I'm concerned.
I'm not concerned about Indianapolis because Carson Wentz didn't turn the ball over last week. 2 touchdowns. They'll be better today against the Rams.
You know what? Bill Cowher used to get upset with some of his assistant coaches if they weren't concerned, and he would say what? I'm concerned
that you're not concerned.
There you go. Hey, folks.
Thank you, Bill.
Speaking of reasons to worry, when we come back, we'll talk about the reigning MVP and Green Bay's putrid Week 1 performance.
We're all concerned
and now we take you to first on the field for the latest news and updates on your matchup presented by FedEx, where now meets next.
Division rivals meet on a perfect day in the Meadowlands as the New England Patriots play the New York Jets. Hi, everyone. Kevin Harlan with Trent Green. And the storyline going into this one, rookie quarterbacks Mac Jones of the Patriots against Zach Wilson of the Jets.
Well, let's start with New England and Mac Jones. An impressive first game for Mac Jones. Yes, they didn't get the win, but he was very efficient in the way he ran the offense. The thing that I loved about it when going back and looking at the tape, 6 different receivers had multiple receptions. 4 different receivers had 5 or more receptions. So the fact that he knows how to spread the ball, get everyone involved, really took notice for me. On the other side, Zach Wilson had a rough first game. Didn't get things going until the middle of the third quarter. Only 80 yards of total offense in the first 2.5 quarters. He was under constant pressure. But the things that has Jets fans excited is that last quarter and a half. He really got things fired up.
Trent, the Patriot run game had a 100-yard rusher last week against Miami.
And that's Damian Harris, 100 yards rushing, over 4 yards per carry. It was the key fumble late in the game, though, that cost the Patriots the opportunity to take the lead late against the Dolphins, looking to make up for that today. And then on the other side, Corey Davis, the big free agent signing wide receiver for the Jets, came up huge for them, nearly 20 yards per reception, 2 big touchdowns late in the game.
And a couple former Baltimore linebackers lead these 2 defenses.
Well, let's start with New England and Matt Judon. Big free agent signing for the New England Patriots. Devin McCourty, the safety, said, listen, he brings a lot of juice. We need that on the defensive side of the ball. He will have a big impact not only throughout the season, but here today in New York. And then on the other side, you have C.J. Mosley, who only played 2 games in 2019. Last year decided to opt out with COVID concerns. 2 games in those 2 years. Looking for a big year from him.
Penalties and turnovers, the problem last week for the Pats. Offensive line issues for the Jets last week in their loss in Carolina. Back to the NFL Today after this.
So take that. Time now for a pregame HQ delivered by Domino's.
Rodgers dumps it over the middle. Intercepted. Debo down the right sideline. He's got running room.
Got to give the Saints all the credit in the world. Absolutely embarrassed us today, and this isn't going to magically repair itself.
Rodgers did not get it away. Davenport makes the sack.
It was just all-around poor performance. That starts with myself. It's very humbling, to say the least.
A-Rod looking. Rainbows for MVS. And it's intercepted in the deep secondary by Marcus Williams. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I'll let him use those words, and I'll use one game. We got 16 to go. This is a good kick into you-know-where. Hopefully get us going in the right direction, going back home and playing division opponent next week.
You know what? This ought to be a good session because all 3 of you are barking at Phil, so Phil is wired up. We are coming off of an offseason where Aaron Rodgers dominated the headlines. Combine that with his performance last week, and folks, you get this question, and he does as well. Is there reason to be concerned about the reigning MVP?
Concerned again? You know what? Let's face it. He is a complicated, awkward, brilliant, unbelievable football player. And I kind of think he's bored in Green Bay, to be honest with you. And I think today he's going to have a bounce-back game against Detroit because this is just in his background. Look, he's got a man bun this year. He found his inner peace in the offseason.
Right.
Everything's going to be fine in Green Bay. Everybody just needs to relax.
No, I don't think it's going to be fine. He could come back tomorrow with another bad game. You know, how many times in the offseason, Coach, have you said to young players, the offseason is important. I need you guys to show up, even when it's voluntary. Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers spent the entire offseason, just call it what it is, making it about himself. Sending a message, yes, but I don't need notes, and I don't need to look at the camera and tell Aaron Rodgers how much I love him and appreciate it. I've been covering him for 5 years. I know how good he is. But what he did this offseason is a direct result of why he played so bad. And as far as relaxing and seeming like he's bored, his disposition was bad on the sideline, too. He almost seemed like he was uninterested in what was going on. Yeah. So for me, I think it all started in the offseason, and it all fell apart last week.
I think it all started when they drafted Jordan Love last year. And I think he played with a chip on his shoulder last year, which is fine. But then all of a sudden he talks about, you know, where he's at and maybe he should move on. He starts talking about other things and personnel moves. You know what, Aaron? He's a quarterback. You're a player, you play. The people in the front office will make decisions. Don't worry about Jordan Love. And to me, he's now made it personal. He looks very selfish. He almost looks aloof. And I agree with you. You know, I always says perception is reality. And you look at him on the sideline, he looks like he really doesn't care. I know it's no time to panic. Yes, I hear relax, and he'll have a great game on Monday night. But, you know, show me you care. Show me it's important to you, that the team is more important than who you are. And right now, I have not seen that.
You know, so many things you say are so true. Nate, I really agree with you at this point. He wasn't there the whole offseason. So he did no OTAs, organize, you know, team activities. He didn't do that. He wasn't there for minicamp. Right. He didn't play in the preseason. So how can you do it? And also, you're in the locker room. It's a distraction. Everybody comes up, hey, James, want to talk to you. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers? That's all you hear. That's all that was talked about. To make it short, the best thing that could happen to the Green Bay Packers, they went down, as we would say in Kentucky, they went down there and got whooped by the New Orleans Saints, and that'll straighten them up and give them a better chance to focus and play better.
Sounds like a lot like Brett Favre did many years ago. Remember, he missed OTAs, and then Aaron Rodgers took over.
We still look at the QBs for leadership, and body language says a lot. An absolutely loaded division in the NFC West, with all four squads winning their Week 1 battles in impressive fashion. And some eye-popping numbers from the stars on both sides of the ball. Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Deebo Samuel, and Chandler Jones, as Jason talked to us about it, made emphatic statements last week. So what performance stood out the most to you? It was really easy. It was the Arizona Cardinals, and yet, Bill, I'm going to do it again, so don't pass out. I'm going to talk about their defense. You know, when you talk about Chandler Jones hitting the quarterback, you know, on one side, and then on the other side, you have J.J. Watt helping out, causing havoc. Then they got an unknown secret in the middle in Corey Peters, who had a great game destroying people. And they got tremendous speed on the defensive side. Now, we know about Kyler Murray, the wide receiver group. That's all good. But the offensive line has also improved. And I got to do this again, talk about the quarterbacks, because to me, it's about Matthew Stafford going to the L.A. Rams. And you think about Matthew Stafford in Detroit, what he didn't have, and that's a big top 5 defense. He's got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, two of the best at their position, and he's got a creative mind in Sean McVay. It's a perfect fit for him out there. And let me ask you this question. No division's ever gone 8-0 in the first 2 weeks. We could potentially have all 4 of these teams making the playoffs.
I hear you on that. I'm asking a question. Yes. All right, listen, I'm looking at the San Francisco 49ers. Deebo Samuel was fantastic. Yep. I mean, yards after catch, this dude is an absolute beast. And you're speaking of creative minds, Kyle Shanahan really has that offense cooking. Even throwing in Trey Lance close to the end zone. I know you want to touch on that a little bit after Jimmy G took him all the way down there. But keep your eye on George Kittle, who only had 79 yards last week. He's like a faulty fuse on a firework. He can go off at any moment. You know, he can put up big numbers. And Trent Sherfield is a wide receiver that is a guy that's going to make some plays every single week.
All right, Seattle and Arizona had the 2 best wins in Week 1. No question about that. To go on the road in a tough division, AFC South, they're 2 best teams. But this thing that's going on in San Francisco is a thing that I don't like. Last week, I told you I thought San Francisco was going to make the playoffs. I just don't like playing games at the quarterback position. I don't care how high a draft pick Trey Lance is. Jimmy Garoppolo is your starter right now. Leave him on the field. Stop messing
gets
around.
mad at that. He gets mad when we talk on the show, so you can't get everything.
A faulty fuse on a firework. Who on the show reminds you of that? Anybody? Everybody points to Phil. No. Robert Saleh, go ahead.
Yeah, Robert Saleh. You need a fuse for the New York Jets. He opens up the home opener going against the GOAT, Bill Belichick.
Tell us about the quarterback.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find the fine life. Live la vida más fina. FanDuel. Make every moment more. And by Ram Trucks. Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row.
This summer, the Raiders hosted the Southern Nevada High School Girls Flag Football All-Star Game, where over 40 girls participated in the game and the Combine event, which served as a showcase for college scouts.
Well, there's Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. Had 1 sack, 5 tackles. Needs a big game today to help this defense.
And there's Carl Nassib of the Las Vegas Raiders. His strip sack of Lamar Jackson in overtime helped the Raiders get their Week 1 win against the Baltimore Ravens.
And there's Minkah Fitzpatrick, played 79 of 79 snaps on defense, safety, nickel, and even linebacker. If Carr forces the ball to Waller today, Minkah might make
Here's
it.
C.J. Mosley, guys. Jet fans aren't used to seeing him in the uniform. They haven't seen him but for 4 games. He's got 574 tackles from 2014 to 2018.
For keeps. I gotta go for the sweep. Looking at what I've achieved. My competition is me. I'm only playing for keeps. I gotta go for the sweep. Still got so much to achieve. My competition is me.
That high-energy promo lets you know why we are excited about the matchup coming your way later today here on CBS, especially after suffering a season-ending ankle injury last year against the Giants. Dak Prescott endured an emotional recovery, culminating in an impressive performance against Tampa Bay in Week 1. Tracy Wilson sat down with the Cowboys star to discuss how the past year helped him grow both as a player and a leader for America's team.
Well, Dak, everything's bigger in Texas, so we decided to go big as well today.
Deep ball down the right side. He's got Cooper. Caught for a touchdown.
His 3rd touchdown tonight.
Welcome back, Dak Prescott.
Big time performance against Tampa Bay. How would you describe what took place out there?
It was exciting. Just after a long 11 months of not playing a game that I love most, it was special just to get back out there, especially in a game like that, to kick off the NFL season against defending champs. But at the end of the day, we came up short. But it was something that I personally was proud of, the way that I played physically and just made a comeback.
And then after the game, the message to Tom Brady.
We'll see y'all again.
It's just my expectations in this team. I believe in manifesting and saying things. It allows you to hold yourself and others accountable to it. So after watching Week 1 and seeing football all the way around, I don't take back anything that I said. We know that's a playoff team, and for us to get to where we've got to go, I think that's a team that we'll have to go through.
It's an option pitch to Elliott, and he is met at the 4 and swung down.
33 yards for Zeke. That's not going to cut it.
They need to get that run game going.
Ezekiel Elliott taking a lot of criticism. He had 11 carries, 33 yards. You think of those numbers and you hear it. You hear the media and Twitter, whatever. What do you say to that criticism?
Yeah, I don't listen to it. I know Zeke doesn't listen to it. You understand that there's going to be a narrative out there, and that narrative doesn't necessarily line up with who Zeke is and who this team is. So that's not something we're going to give energy or even focus on. We're going to focus on us as a team and what it takes to win.
Can you sense any frustration from him, though?
No. I mean, obviously, you want to go out there and you want to get the ball more times or so, and I'm sure there's going to be games that I want to throw it more. But I can promise you that Zeke's not upset about that game. He knew that that's what it was going to take for us to win.
Keep going now. Keep going. Got you. Let's go.
It seems as though you really cemented yourself as the leader of this team. Would you say that?
Yeah, I would. But I think it's also just everything that I've been through. My teammates, coaches, and everyone around me see what it means to me and the work that I'm going to put in and how much I care about it. And I care about my teammates and I care about my job and my responsibility and obligations, that it allows other people to follow me and it allows other people to buy in without question.
Let's go. Stay locked in now.
Do you feel the pressure being the quarterback of America's team ever?
I always say pressure is privilege. So sure. I'm thankful to have that. I'm thankful to have those responsibilities, and it's fun. I think it makes me a better person, a better player, holds me to a high standard, and it's time for us to get back, and it's time for us to go be the organization that we once were, and we've got everything that we need to go get it done. We just got to put it together and enjoy the process.
Well, great job there, Tracy, interviewing Dak Prescott. How about this start? You're injured last year. You come back your first game of the year. You set an all-time record for completions in the first game of a season. What a job. You know, what they did. They got rid of the football quick. They threw 5 screens. Here's the 6th one. Look at the receivers. They faked the screen. The defense bites, and Dak Prescott throws it over the top to CeeDee Lamb for the touchdown. The game plan by Kellen Moore with Dak Prescott was awesome, guys. Get rid of the football quick. Get it to your playmakers. You can't run against Tampa Bay, and it protected Dak and that ankle always being in the shotgun.
That to us was impressive too, Phil. That would be Justin Herbert. You know, his week 1 in Washington. What he did over there, he was 31 of 47. 337 yards, and on 3rd down, he was 14 of 19. And you think about the weapons and the playmakers he has on that offensive side, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Jared Cook. I think what he did in week 1 is picking up from where he was in his rookie year, the rookie of the year.
Yeah, speaking of playmakers, Dak Prescott, he's leaning on those playmakers. And I'm not talking about Ezekiel Elliott. He had a rough start to the season, but Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, those guys started off strong. A couple of weeks ago, Amari Cooper was asked if he's one of the best receivers in the game. He confidently responded, I am the best receiver in the game. He kind of laughed. They didn't think that he could show up the way he did. 2 touchdowns. They targeted him 17 times, and he came down with 13 grabs. Wow. That's who he goes to.
You know, I'm not worried at all about the Dallas Cowboy offense. They're going to put up points all week long. As a matter of fact, I believe that this game is going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend. And the reason for that is because of the lack of pass rush on the Dallas defense. No DeMarcus Lawrence, no Randy Gregory. Micah Parsons now is going to be exclusively used as a defensive end. Justin Herbert should put up huge numbers, and so should Dak Prescott all year long.
Yeah. And Boomer, meanwhile, out in Seattle, Russell Wilson will have to go through the Titans to get to his 100th career regular season victory. Phil.
Yeah, you know, I want to talk about Russell Wilson in this game. A trend in the NFL is getting wide receivers against safeties. And if the wide receivers for Seattle get on the safeties, Russell Wilson, you talked about it, Coach, he can throw the moon ball. And what happens? The defensive back gets nervous, he panics, it's pass interference, or the receiver catches it.
And I look at the Tennessee Titans from last week, and this does not look like the same offense in terms of their identity. I mean, Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 58 yards. I get a little concerned about that because that is who they are. That is the makeup of their team. He is the face of their team. So, you know, sometimes you lose an offensive coordinator in Arthur Smith. I want to sit back and wait. We got to keep an eye on this offense. Can they kind of create an identity of their own like they did a year ago?
No doubt. And you're speaking about Todd Downing, the new offensive coordinator. He's going to have to step his game up a little bit, get back to what works, the bread and butter, that play-action football. And on the flip side, Chris Carson, it's going to be a good battle between the running backs. I do have Chris Carson out-rushing Derrick Henry in this one.
I know Aaron Rodgers was unhappy this offseason. Wasn't Russell Wilson at one point in time unhappy this offseason?
Yeah, but he got over.
No, he only threw the ball 23 times last week against the Colts. You know, he's going to want to throw it more as the season goes on. Remember what happened last year? Pete Carroll took the ball out of his hand late in the season, and he was unhappy. One of the reasons why he wanted to leave.
If Russell Wilson gets his 100th victory, 3rd fastest he will be to get there behind Joe Montana and, of course, Tom Brady. All right, folks, time now for our NFL Today picks for Week 2. Upset specials. Feel.
Well, I'm taking one that's a 5.5-point underdog. I'm going to take the Raiders over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year, I was 13-4, so listen to me.
You were what now last year?
13-4.
Okay.
So he says.
Check those numbers. He makes them up. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers over the New Orleans Saints. I want to see Jameis do this consistently.
I'm going with Boom's team, Cincinnati Bengals on the road over the Chicago Bears. It's going to be a good one.
I'm going to say with the Indianapolis Colts over the L.A. Rams. The Rams play obviously the Bears last week and just blew them apart, but that's not going to happen today.
And I'm going to tee up and tell them to get ready. That will be Nathaniel, not Nate. Hey, folks, we will see you back here for halftime. But with kickoff just a few moments away, we'll get you out to your game next.
The NFL Today on CBS is presented by Ram Trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row.
And welcome back to the NFL Today. And now Amazon takes you out to the sights and sounds of the game between the Patriots and the Jets. Let's send you out to East Rutherford with our announcers, Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins.
It's the home opener for the New York Jets, unveiling a new head coach and a rookie quarterback. Facing their divisional foe, the New England Patriots, who also will start a rookie at quarterback. All serving as our backdrop here on a beautiful day in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Hi, everyone. Kevin Harlan along with Trent Green will check in with Melanie Collins on our sideline in just a moment. Well, this could be the first of many divisional matchups between these two quarterbacks, Zach Jones of the Patriots and Zach Wilson of the New York Jets.
Kevin, this is going to be a rivalry for years to come. But let's start off with Mac Jones and the New England Patriots. I was extremely impressed with the way that he handled the Miami defense a week ago. Yes, they didn't win the game, but his poise and the way that he was being able to handle the pressure. You have to remember, a year ago, the Dolphins were the #1 blitz and pressure defense, and he handled it extremely well, completing 74% of his passes with no turnovers. And he has to be ready for more blitzing and pressure again today, especially on third down. Jones was effective on third down, but the Jets like to be creative on third down.
So 5 quarterbacks were chosen in the first round of the draft. Number 15, the final, was Mac Jones for New England. The second overall pick was Zach Wilson, the coach of the New York Jets. Robert Saleh said in his mind he was the #1 overall quarterback.
Well, and there's a lot of reasons why when you consider his mobility and his arm strength when he gets outside the pocket. And unfortunately, a week ago, he was under constant pressure. That's what we're going to take a look at in Going Green is the offensive line has to do a better job. Now, some of that falls on Zach Wilson also, understanding where his hot throws are. But this time, Carolina only rushes 4. They're able to flush him out of the pocket. But what impresses me, Kevin, he keeps his eyes up the field and is able to find Corey Davis for a touchdown.
Some injuries of note on the defense for the Patriots. Kyle Van Noy out of the game for the Jets. Their punter, Braden Mann, is gone. Their starting safety, LaMarcus Joyner, is gone. But Trent, you're eyeing 2 changes on both offensive lines that will make a difference, you think?
Kevin, you know, as a former quarterback, I want to talk about injuries on the offensive line. Trent Brown out at right tackle for New England, and a big loss for the Jets left tackle, Mekhi Becton. That causes some shuffling. So now all of a sudden you move George Fant over to the left side, and Morgan Moses comes in at right tackle. They weren't very good last week, the offensive line. Zach Wilson was under a lot of pressure. That looks to continue today against this New England defense. When you look at what they were able to do last week against Miami, held that Miami offense to 259 yards of total offense, and look at the record they have, Bill Belichick does, against young quarterbacks.
And the matchup of the head coaches this afternoon. One coach with hundreds of wins, and the other coach searching for his first win.
Well, it goes without saying, Bill Belichick is a Hall of Famer, and right now stands 3rd all-time in NFL wins as a head coach. Robert Saleh, for that point, is trying to get his first NFL win, and Saleh talked to us about how respectful he is of Bill Belichick and studying his tape and trying to formulate how he wanted to be as a defensive coach and how he wants to be as a head coach.
It's the first time in the 62-year history of this matchup both teams will be starting a rookie quarterback. The Patriots, the Jets, on CBS.